welcome to part 2 of the Beast build series. Today you're going to see the car getting turned on for the first time and the body being completely finished off. This video goes right up to the last day before ROSSA round 3. So you're going to see my sort of final preparations for that. I'm really enjoying telling this story actually. It's really enjoyable going back through my footage and explaining what I actually did. So hope you enjoy it. Hey, I'm about to start turning this pile of wires into some kind of wiring harness for my beast car. I've got to come up with a strategy as well for how I'm going to attach these motor wires to the flux capacitor, which is what I've called this thing here. This is the PDU, power distribution unit, connected up to the 4 electronic speed control units. Unfortunately, I need to solder the motor wires onto this underneath it. So yeah, this is where I need to come up with some sort of clever strategy of how I'm going to actually do that in a way that will allow me to actually, you know, take them on and off again in future if I need to. For example, like if I need to change a motor if one gets damaged. Yeah, so here we go. I'm going to run a time lapse on it. I've finally got the thing wired up, so all the motors are now connected, and I've made my harness to attach my 4 6S batteries to the power distribution unit. So that's why there's 4 blue connectors there. And I've just made this little link piece, so just for testing I can link up one of those arms of the circuit to run it on one 6L battery, so instead of 12S it'll be 6S and only one battery, but that for just running up the wheels, that should be fine. But yeah, it's looking good. I think I've used this sheathing on the motor wires to keep them from chafing on the edges of the carbon. I managed to do the front ones a bit neater than the rear, but hopefully people don't look too closely. Anyway, coming together. Right, here we are then. We're about to power up the beast for the first time. I've got my little jumper thing in here to replace one of the batteries, so it'll be just running on 6L. I'm just hoping nothing blows up. The speed controllers might make a noise. The flight controller should come on. That's all I'm really looking for. I haven't got any means of starting the motors at this stage, I don't think, so let's see what happens. Fingers crossed, and be ready to unplug it quickly, I guess, if it blows up. It's actually making a noise even though it's got no fans anywhere. That's quite strange. Right, the next step is to plug it into the configurator and work out how to get the flight controller talking to the PDU, and then set up all the motors and make sure they're all turning in the right way that I want. And then we should be good to go. Awesome. We may be about to witness the motors on my beast car start turning for the first time under their own power. I've got the configurator here. By moving this up, I should be able to move each motor individually. So let's try motor 1. Oh! Smooth. And now let's try all of them. Yes, there we go. Yes. It's alive. It's alive. Yes. Hi, this is a special moment in my build of the Beast car. I'm going to connect 12S up to the power distribution unit for the first time. I've got some rubber gloves on to increase the resistance of my hands a bit. I'm sure it'll be fine, but just it's a bit wary. It's the first time I've done this. And I've got a fire extinguisher over there should the worst come to the worst, but hopefully we don't see any nasty arcing going on. I mean, there's such a small distance between the negative terminal and the positive on the power distribution unit. I'm worried that the power's just going to jump across that little gap, but we'll find out in a minute. And if it toasts the PDU, then I've got a few days left to get another one if I need to. So here goes nothing then. This is the first battery connected, and then here we go. Here's the second one. Right, here we go then. No sparking. Yep, that's good. You could see there was a bit of a spark when I connected it. It wasn't too bad actually. And you can see the voltage on the screen there, 45 point something. Keeps going up and down, but yeah, shows I've got 12 cells connected there. Awesome. Now let's just check. I'll disconnect that, and so it's not connected to the computer anymore. The radio is all hooked up, so it should arm now and drive in theory. Yep, there we go. It's got some power there. So there we have it, the brakes are installed. They went together very nicely actually. I was quite surprised how quickly that went together. The front end in particular looks very neat because there's none of the radio gear for the brakes is at this end. Just the wires go all the way up to the brake receiver at the rear there. You might be wondering why I've got a separate receiver for the brakes and the main flight controller. Well, it's kind of a safety feature. It means that if all goes wrong and I completely lose the flight controller, then I've basically still got brakes so I can bring the car to a stop. In fact, it should automatically come to a stop if it loses signal as well. So there you have it. I'm quite pleased with that installation. I mean, it looks a bit like organised chaos in there, and that's what it is. I've tried to make it as neat as I can, but by the time you add all these other little wires in, it's hard to keep all them tidy. I've used a bit of conduit under that chassis plate there to stop any chafage. I'd like to use more of that for some of these other areas, but it's going to be a bit tricky to install it now, you see. Hi, here we are, just under a week to go before I need to leave for ROSSA round 3. I've got one body shell here that still needs gluing together. I've got a car which is pretty much complete. Hasn't got the wheels on there, but they're ready to go on. And I've got another body shell there which is going to get some fiberglass reinforcement on it before I get it ready for some paint. So, oh yeah, and also on the bodies I've got a whole lighting set to go in. Yeah, some of the bits for that are just on my bench there. So that needs finishing off, wiring up, installing. So there's still quite a bit to do, but I've got a few days in hand, so fingers crossed I can get it all done.
Yeah, as I mentioned, I did decide to add some reinforcement with fiberglass in the end, just in the joint areas. The reason for that is I was worried that if there was a maybe not too big a crash, it might still be enough to just rip the joints apart that were only epoxied. Also, the area that you can see on fiberglass in there, it seemed quite easy to crack actually. So with the fiberglass reinforcement, that shouldn't happen. A couple of recommendations. The kit I'm using is called like a big boy fiberglass kit. I got it from Toolstation. It was quite cheap and easy to get hold of. I didn't use the fiberglass cloth itself from the kit though. I already had this quite lightweight sheet that you can see I'm using there. I also got a nice respirator with a carbon filter from Amazon, which was excellent. I mean, for what it cost, it just made it so much more pleasant doing this work without having to breathe in all the fumes from it. Because this is polyester resin I'm using, which is pretty nasty, smelly stuff. Another recommendation is to cut the bits of fiberglass cloth you're going to use before you start mixing up the fiberglass. That way you're ready to go. As soon as you've mixed it up, you can just start sticking, and you haven't got to sort of use your sticky fingers to try and cut the fiberglass. Also you're wasting your time with the limit. You've got a limited time basically before the resin goes off, so you want to use that time to actually stick the cloth onto the body, not sort of cut up more cloth. Yeah, I'm doing a bit of work on both of my body shells there. I sort of work through them in sequence really. So this, you can see I did the inside and I think half of the outside of that, the one I'm working on there, and a few little touch-up bits on the other one.
Hi, I've just been working on my brake setup. As you can see, I've got a servo on each wheel operating the brake shoe. The way I've got it set up is that there's a switch that turns it on, which is that one there, so you should see them all move now. So that puts them on and just puts a little bit of drag on the motors there. Enough. That's a sort of one setting system. But then because I've got an individual brake on each wheel, I thought, well, I could actually use this to help steer the car. So if I flick this switch here, when I steer, the left brakes, if I go left, the left brakes come on more and the other ones come off less. It's hard to see actually, but you can see it even if they're off. But yeah, that's full steer left, full steer right. just about see them move. And then if I want to brake harder, I've also got it set up so if I pull the stick back, it'll put both brakes on. So I'm just trying to make use of the individual brake setup that I've got now. Now all I need to do is test it out, really. Right, just about to have another special moment with the beast car. First time I'm going to fire it up with the wheels in place. The brakes are all there and ready to go as well, so I can test that out also. I just tried it a second ago, but it wasn't working because the receiver wasn't connected, but it is now, so it should be all happy. So that's it, armed. Switching this switch should put the wheels in idle, so let's try it. There we go. And that looks nice and slow, so that was what I was hoping for. Let's try they're gradually speeding up because they're trying to correct the direction of the car, but it's not on the floor, so it's not going to do anything. I'll just put that on again. Right, so putting the brakes on, there's a definite slowing there, that's good, but the wheels are not stopping. And if I bit of vibration I can feel there, but it's probably needs to. Yep, there we go. So here we are, Tesco's car park on a Sunday afternoon. I'm going to do a full systems check on my beast car. I feel a little bit apprehensive because it'll be the first time it's run under its own power. Make sure I plug the brakes receiver in, obviously. Check they're working. Brakes on, brakes off. I'm going to go initially for a 6-cell, I think. Right, let's just check it's all working. So that's arming. Oh, we haven't had that before. What was that? So what am I looking for? Well, does it run under its own power? And oh, it's going on its own. Brakes on. Does it run under its own power? And can it steer? So I'm going to put it somewhere where I can get a bit of a straight run and just try the thing out. Up here looks good. Right, brakes off. Here goes nothing. And is it going to go? No. But remember, that's on 6-cell. It's a 6-cell. Brakes were not working then. Not well enough. Oh my god. Holy burgers. And I hadn't got my additional brakes on either. So God, that got the heart going. So this time I'm going to make sure I've got my additional brakes turned on this time, so let's God, they're still not stopping it. That's because they weren't on, that's why. So that shows that it can go and stop. Brakes off. Doesn't like going on 6-cell much. So if I turn that off, brakes on, I can stop it. That's good. Right, let's try it on 6-cell. Sorry, 12-cell. Brakes off. I wonder how long it is before I get told to not do this. I can imagine it's not going to be very long, so let's unplug it on 6L then. Get it plugged in. There we go. Do I do full 12 cell both sets? Yeah, why not? Systems checker that. Can't plug it in that way round. No spark. Interesting. Equal voltage, I guess. Right, so armed. I'm going to start to have the brakes on, I think.
Brakes on. Brakes on. Disarmed.
It's not liking it for some reason.
Brakes off. Armed. Brakes on. Brakes off. Brakes on. Disarmed.
Hi, today's the day before ROSSA round 3. I'm just about to start packing up because I've finished both of my cars. It's taken what feels like forever to get them finished, but finally here they are. And I've put them next to each other, a bit like in my thumbnail of my previous video, and it just shows the bit of size difference between what I called the Co-Mark 1 and the Beast. Let's do a bit of a pan around and have a look at them. So, see, nice carbon fins there. Got some little canards going on at the front there with the headlights as well. Yeah, dual aerials and the nice carbon wings there. And then from the top as well you get a good perspective of how different the size is. Yeah, so there we have it. I'm about to get loaded up, ready for ROSSA round 3. See how these things go. Hi, and yes, there is a bit of a continuity error here because I've had my hair cut since I filmed the intro of this video. Please let me get away with that one. I hope through this video you can see how much I had to get done in a short space of time at the end of my build there, that I had to get finished before ROSSA round 3. It was really unfortunate that I didn't get to test the car very thoroughly at all. Only that tiny run in Tesco's car park was all I could manage. After finding the brakes didn't work that well, I actually dialed in more of the mechanical brakes, you know, with the servo operated ones, with the hope that that would not only give me a bit more control over the car and also help it steer. So we'll have to see how that pans out. I also did quite a bit of work on the Co-Mark 1. I did swap the motors as I'd planned to do, and also fitted a different speed controller a couple of days before the event, which was probably a bit of an error because in my haste I managed to wire it in back to front, positive to negative. Luckily it didn't seem to blow up, so I was quite surprised that it still worked when I corrected that one. But if I hadn't been in such a rush I probably wouldn't have done that. Well, I hope you enjoyed that build video. My next video is going to be the full account of what actually happened at the ROSSA round 3 event, so keep an eye out for that one. And in the meantime, I'd really appreciate if you like, comment and subscribe,
and share it ideally as well if you know anyone else that might be interested. So thank you for that, and see you next time.